Hi, I'm Steven. That's John. We're from Just Got Played, and we are counting down MrX's top 25 games of all time. As of 2022, anyway. This is the seventh edition of this list. And the game that we're going to be talking about today, which is number 20 on the list for December 6th, has been on the list several times. And that is from 2008, Pandemic. So Pandemic showed up in 2017 for the first time at number 3. In 2018, it was number 12. In 2021, it was number 25. And then here we are at number 20 for 2022. So it just barely hung on the list last year. I will say that this is not a collection of all of the Pandemics. This is just straight up vanilla Pandemic. So this, because this top 25 games of all time is an aggregated list, I did not aggregate in the legacy games that people voted for with this pick. So you just have to see if the legacy games show up on their own later. All right. So, John, why don't you tell us a little bit about how this evergreen game works?
Sure. So Pandemic is a cooperative game where everybody has a different character with a different special ability. And essentially you're going around the entire globe and trying to keep a virus in check. There's going to be different areas that break out based on luck, randomness. And if it has more than 3 viruses already there, then it's going to spread. So you're really just trying to mitigate the problem areas as best you can while working to find a cure. And once you find a cure, you can eradicate that particular type of disease from the world. And once you've done that for all 4 viruses, then you've won the game. So it's a great system where you're all working together as a team and trying to solve one problem. Different things are popping up, and you're just putting out fires in all different kind of locations, running around the map, using your special abilities the best you can, and just trying to work together to come up with a solution. It's a great intro game. It's a great cooperative game. It's a great theme on the game. And it's one of those games that if you enjoy, there's literally 20 different versions that you can go and check out that has everything from a legacy component to the Fall of Rome. So there's plenty of content if you like the legacy system, and it's a great way to introduce new people to the hobby.
Yeah, I have a weird sort of one-off version that's was made for a veterinary conference. It's about animal diseases. So
I mean, you even got an hour that's based on the fictional disease from World of Warcraft. So if you like Pandemic, there's different flavors of all kinds that you can choose from.
Yeah, but it's interesting. There are a few board games, through history that have sort of crossed over into popular culture, right? Monopoly or Clue or Uno, things, Jenga, things that people grew up playing. But as far as more modern games go, you don't see too much of that. I mean, you've got Settlers of Catan and Ticket to Ride, but Pandemic is one of those games that has sort of crossed over into popular culture. And I think this is maybe the first time a lot of people experience a cooperative game, and it's sort of the yardstick that people measure cooperative games by, sort of like when somebody says a roll and move game and you're like, you mean like Monopoly, right? It's like a cooperative game. Oh, you mean like Pandemic, Mm-hmm. And I like Pandemic. One of the things I like about Pandemic are the different rules, right? Everybody has a special player power and a thing that really only they can do. And you don't have all of the roles available every game. So you have this little puzzle, which is how I'm going to get these roles to work together to solve this puzzle that's coming out. And you sort of know what's coming out, right? You know some of the cards that are in the deck, they're going to get flipped. You don't know when they're going to get flipped. You don't know what extra things might be in there. But so you sort of have a warning that things are coming, and you can sort of press your luck like, well, we'll just deal with this a little bit later and hope that card doesn't come out, So it's got a lot of interesting mechanisms in there like that. I think the game has a built-in mechanism to limit communication, but we never play like that. We just play with open hands of cards. I think it's got like this weird thing where you're not supposed to show your cards, but you can talk about them or something.
It's a very weak system of trying to keep you from talking, but the real is that you can only exchange cards if you're in the same location. That's really the limiting factor of it. And just like any cooperative game, there is the potential for a quarterbacking issue. But if everybody's putting in input equally, it's not a problem. And it's also why it's really good to introduce it to new players, because if they're still not sure on their footing and they don't have a lot of, they're like, I don't know what to do, you can help them out with that and go, oh, just go over here and do this real quick, and we'll work together. So they feel like they're part of the team, but they're not having to make really tough decisions for their first ever outing on it. So we too have never played with those rules where you limit communication. We still keep the cards in our hand, but you can just tell people what's going on. And if it is with people new to the entire genre of board games, we'll just lay them out on the table, and it doesn't really make the game necessarily any easier or ruin anything. It's just a mechanism you can use to help new players get into the hobby. So it's an interesting one, but it's not one we really put a lot of stock in.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. So yeah, if you have never played Pandemic or never played a cooperative game, then I would suggest you check this one out. And that's why it landed at number 20 on MrX's top 25 games of all time. So this is a contest. MrX's top 25 games of all time is always a contest. And the way that you enter the contest is every day you leave a comment on the YouTube video. So we're releasing one of these every day up until December 25th, where we'll release the number one, tell you what the number one game is. So in this video, why don't you leave a comment telling us what was your first experience with Pandemic? And if you never played Pandemic, why don't you tell me what your favorite cooperative game is? And, you know, if you haven't played a cooperative game and you don't know anything about Pandemic, then I want to just tell me what you did to occupy your time during our most recent global pandemic. All right, so I'm Steven. That's John. Join us tomorrow on Just Got Played, where we'll tell you what the next game is. But until then, thanks everybody for watching.